Hello, and welcome to an update to the review series. I am joined by Cranberry. We're going to update the review videos that we did back in like June.
I don't know who this Cranberry guy is,
Oh,
but
sorry.
today you're joined by uh, music producing legend Flying Lotus.
Yes. Hello, Mr.
Yeah.
Lotus.
For these non-gameplay videos, we're doing producers instead because
Ah.
they're operating behind the scenes.
Oh, very clever, Mr. Lotus. I like that. Very, very nice. I don't know who Flying Lotus is, I gotta be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
He
ex-
uh he had one really good song with Kendrick that I liked a
ah.
lot.
I expected you to
Um,
be no ID if I were gonna take a guess.
I don't even know who that is.
What? Oh my god, he's like the dude who worked on a bunch of stuff with Kanye.
I thought that was Hit Boy.
I mean, there's like a lot of producers that worked
Yeah,
on.
there is.
Yeah. Anyway, join us next week for a state of the hip hop game, producer game. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you remember, if you watch those old reviews, they are each like an hour long, hour and a half to 2 hours, some of them. We're probably, or what we're going to do here instead of before this one, we went through and we talked about each of the cards and how they've changed since we did those reviews because those reviews were done before the first major DLC even came out. We're going to talk about cards that changed for sure and any cards that we had our opinions change on since then. And we're just going to gloss over the rest, is the
Yeah.
plan.
Sorry, Spike of the Hellhorned.
Yes.
We ain't got time.
Sorry, basically this entire page. Also, I think we're not gonna talk about the new champions yet. I'm not ready to talk about the new champions because, I mean, shit, dude, Solgard got changed today, so uh, the new champions aren't really set in stone yet. I'm gonna give them more time and play with them some more before I'm ready to make content about them.
We will mention them when like a card is relevant to them specifically,
Right?
but like
Yeah, for sure. And also, we'll talk about all the new starter cards as well. I imagine as we get to them. And yeah, anything else you would like to say, Mister Flying Lotus?
um I can't remember any of his albums. He's one of those producers that actually makes albums and stuff.
Ah,
He's one of those
you
guys.
could just
But
like look it up real quick while I.
nah, let's just get into it.
All right. So we're gonna talk about imps as a whole. I imagine. I also did a discussion series video on this. But before we get into imps, I want to look at the rest of this page. Is there any card you want to talk about on this page?
I mean, does important work count as an imp card?
Yeah, we're gonna do all of the imps as a lump deal.
Then no.
Okay, you want to talk about imps now then?
Sure.
Okay, so here, what we'll do for this is we'll go imp. Here are all of the imp cards. Imps are a lot better than I think we gave them credit for back in June.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, anyway, there's one imp in particular that carries the entire imp archetype. I'm sure everyone knows what imp we're about to talk about, right? He's not
Yeah,
on this page. It's this guy.
yeah. Consumer of crowns, the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
imp.
yeah. The best imp consumer. Get out of here, consumer of crowns.
Nah,
Uh,
Welder Helper, like in tandem with Transcendent is crazy. You need like
mm-hmm,
one Transcendent for it to really go off, but like you can do it with Welder Helpers on their own.
mm-hmm.
Like Transcendent does nothing until you have Welder Helper.
Yeah. Like basically the way that every single imp deck that I've ever run has worked out is I end up with between 1 and 3 Welder Helpers, 1 Transcendent, and then because I saw Transcendent, the way that it works is if you have 3 Welder Helpers and Transcendent, you win the game, basically. You play the 3 Welder Helpers, you put Endless on the Transcendent and find a way to kill it every turn, and then that's just 60 armor every turn.
With the new champion, it's very easy to kill your own imps. One of her lines is just kills your own imps.
Yeah, which is really good.
Mhm.
And then
Important work.
important work as well. Holdover important work is a classic. Also worth noting, if you have an endless imp and you play a holdover or just a regular important work on it, you will draw that imp, so you can play transcend imp and then draw it again with important work.
Mhm.
Uh,
One more thing I want to talk about too. I'm a little higher, I think, on imp in a box than I was last time.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. We gotta talk about imp in a
Um,
box, right?
we had a run in the co-op series where I think we just didn't have any welder helpers, so we kind of just played imp in a box as much as possible in order to find welder helper.
Yeah, you only need like one
And
or
we
two.
used impish scholar to play it over and over again too. So
Yeah. So, like, the whole imp archetype is good, right, as a whole, because it's really low. What I look for when I look for something like this is the amount of things you have to commit to get this imp deck going are very few. You just need a few Welder helpers, and then you're in position if you see Transcendent for it to be at least okay. And then like, so you see Transcendent from Daedalus, and you're like, okay, this isn't bad, right? It's like, oh, we burst like 40 to 60 armor from our Welder helpers, and then you see Imp in a box, and you just get to throw in 2 random imps for free, and you go, oh yeah. And then you play Impish Scholar, and then you pull back a bunch of Imp in a boxes, and the Transcendent snowballs out of control.
Yeah. And keep in mind, you really only need 1 imp. You put endless on it, and then you start duplicating it at like the what's it called, the
Oh
Hellhorns,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You're right.
You can do stuff like that too. So like the more the merrier, but you can just get 1 early because it shows up early, and then just copy it a couple times.
Yeah. Another way you can go about it as well, if you have melting as your secondary, is you can do like endless plus the burnout 1 effect, or you can just reform a lot of imps as well is fine. Like holdover molded works the same way as endless.
Important to note that reforming isn't the most reliable strategy because as the imps get reformed over and over, their burnout lasts longer. So if you're relying on the burnout to kill the imps so you can keep replaying them, it's a little bit of an issue.
Oh yeah, you're right. Very good note. That issue goes away if you're playing the queen that kills your imps, which is the last time I did that and why it's fresh in my mind that way. While we're here, you want to talk about Queen's Impling as well?
It's it's worse than Dregs, but like because it is an imp, that's important.
Yeah, I'm really like of all of the starter cards, I have no idea how to feel about Queen's Impling the most.
It really helps enable Consumer of Crowns if you find it early.
Yeah,
That's a thing.
I don't know. Like I don't know what to say about Queen's Impling. I don't know how to feel about this card because at first I went, this is horrible. This is the worst one, and now I'm just like, yeah, it's okay. Like the 10 damage is meaningful.
Yeah, and like it works with you. You need imps in your starting deck if you are Shardtail Queen.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
So it's not as good as a secondary, and it's even worse if you're not going for an imp strategy. You probably remove these before stewards.
I don't think that's the case.
You don't think so?
No, because Steward is 2 space and Queen's Impling is 1 space, assuming they're both worthless. They cost the same.
It does always depend, I guess.
Yeah, real quick. I think I talked about this in the discussion video, but I think that the only imp that I probably would never pick, the more I take him, the less I want to take him, is Fledgling Imp. I think this is the one that's just... I don't think you want to put this in your deck.
Yeah, it's tough. If you're like he's not meant for an imp strategy. He's meant for like a rage strategy that you take this and then like in the early rounds he might chump a hit for whatever unit is in the front of your room.
Well, I feel like he's really good in the rage strategy though, because if you play like 3 of this and you start having Transcendent Ritual battle your entire floor, it's really good. However, this imp and Pyre Chomper are the ones that you want to pull off of an imp in a box, basically. I think these are the best imps you want to have not in your deck, but pulled out of imp in a box. But it's just like, because if you don't see the Transcendent, the reasoning here, if you don't see Transcendent, this is really bad. Summon, apply 3 rage is just underwhelming.
Yeah.
I think that's it for imps. Impelate also is still here.
The attuned keyword, because I did get added to impressive too.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I forgot impressive got the attuned keyword because what the fuck?
Yeah, it's not the best. If you're in a pinch to kill your own imps, you have no other way to do it. You can use impressive, give it holdover, and it kills the imps. But it'd be pretty desperate. But like, in 50 damage isn't nothing either. You give it like, 1 spell. By the way, attuned, if you're not aware, it just spell damage increases count 5 times as much.
Yes.
So a plus 10 damage from the shop bumps it up to dealing 100 damage. It's worse than Impelate though. If you're doing damage with this spell, Impelate will almost always do more damage if you're focused on imps. So
yeah, I honestly forgot they put attuned on this card because honestly, Impressive could read Sacrifice Imp and no other card text, and it would feel like the exact same card to me.
Not the exact same, but pretty close. I would say pretty close.
I look at this card as just important work, but significantly worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree.
And it's basically Torch. We'll talk about Consumer of Crowns later. I don't want to talk about him in the imp set. I want to finish out with him, I think, for Hellhorn.
Okay.
Unless you have a burning desire to talk about him.
No.
Okay, so that's Imps out of the way. Any other cards here? I don't think so, right?
I still like Alloy, and I still like Dark Deal. I think you weren't as hot on Dark Deal when we first did this, but
I am still not hot on Dark Deal. My opinion on Dark Deal is unchanged.
okay.
I don't think this card is very good.
I think it sort of acts like a razor sharp edge.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It's like if Razor Sharp Edge was way even harder to find than it already was, and the damage it gave decayed.
Yeah, I'm never like, oh man, I really need Razor Sharp or I really need Dark Deal for this deck to work.
Mm-hmm.
But it does this. It does the same job basically.
Yeah, I don't know. Deal 5 damage. Like it's just messy. I
It
don't
is
like
messy.
it. All right, next page. Deranged Brute got changed, so I guess we should talk about him at least a little bit.
He got bumped from 2 to 3 damage per rage, right?
Yes.
I still like him. I liked him last time. He's pretty cool.
I think that I have had I don't remember how I felt about Deranged Brute last time. However, I've been talking about this a little bit. Let me take you through a little story here. I have talked about this from a balance perspective. One of the things that I dislike about this game is that you don't see rare units often enough. Like there are some rare units, like Wilting Sapwood is the one that I always give as an example, where it just feels like you never see them. And I think I was thinking it would be cool if there was a way to just like guarantee at least one rare unit on a run. And after playing this game for the last 3.5 months since we did this review series, I think that the only reason they can't do that is because Deranged Brute is a unit that just wins you the game so often that like he's just too broken.
He's a big strong boy.
He's so strong.
He rage gives +2. He having him on the floor that you have the units with rage on. Rage is more than double the normal impact it has, right?
So, yeah, rage is +5 per stack. Ritual Battle becomes like crazy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good with Rage Prince. He's so good with Branded Warrior. He's just so good.
To clarify, with Rage Prince, do you mean Wrathful or do you mean Multi-Strike?
Yeah, Wrathful.
Okay.
Wrathful Prince. Probably good with Multi-Strike Prince too, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He still doesn't have quite the stats to be an actual like tank. 25 HP, not the lowest, but not great either.
You can make him into like a, I don't know. I feel like you can do something like give him +25, and then you make Brandon multi-strike quick, and then Brandon just scales so much that he starts wiping entire floors. But it's correct that his health, he can't tank very well. However, I've had runs where it's like Brute plus Brandon, and that just kills the boss in 3 rounds anyway.
Also important to note that Hellhorn has a lot of access to armor.
Yeah,
obviously.
Oh yeah.
So you can give him branding right to tank him up.
Hellhorn like is a clan where you just build your own tank with armor. Hello, Welder Helper. Surprise! Deranged Brute's good with imps. Wow. What did we say about Hidden Passage in the past? Do you remember?
I don't know, but Hidden Passage is a very good card.
Yeah, I went through a period where I thought this was like maybe the best card in the game. I am now thinking that Hidden Passage is just pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's in my probably top 3 commons for Hellhorn.
Yeah, probably. I think we should mention Hornbreak here for a moment.
I'm a lot lower on Hornbreak than I used to be.
It's funny because, yeah, I think that we were probably pretty high on Hornbreak back in June. I think that Hornbreak is basically always a skip in default because the piercing just isn't worth it. There's so few tanks that spawn. However, Hornbreak is probably one of the best commons to get when you have Exile Hellhorned.
Yeah, because then you don't have any torches.
Yeah. Turns out direct damage in a clan when you don't have torches gets a lot better. Who knew?
I don't know if I talked about it, but I didn't like Horned Warrior very much. I've come around on him a little bit since, but not a whole lot, but like a little bit since we last did the review. I like him a little bit more. He's like sufficient as a backline DPS.
You know what I found in runs where Horned Warrior is in the run and the run is successful? I find myself most often giving him multi-strike and +25 and then putting him on the top floor. And then the middle 2 floors kill the front line, and then he cleans up the back line.
I've found runs the most successful with him where I give him like plus third or multi-strike, and then just have a really big tank in front.
Right.
And that's like my plan for Relentless. But
Horned Warrior's big problem is that there's no scaling built into him, right?
yeah.
And his stat line is just too low overall.
Yeah, but 30 base attack is nothing to make fun of, I guess. But
yeah, there's just every unit that's just raw stats falls off once you get past 4-6. And Horned Warrior is probably the biggest offender of this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. We talked about these imp cards. March of Shields.
Still the same.
Yeah, it's good. I've had runs where like it combos really well with Ascend. You can make a Super 4 where you just ascend a bunch of tanks up and then send them forward. But, mostly you play this for armor 10.
I think we talked about this before. My opinion on March of Shields is more or less the same, but now I actually value it more for that unit movement than I do for the armor it applies.
Yeah.
Armor it applies is still good, but I feel like I really want it when I need to super stack a floor and make sure I have the right unit in front.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, March of Shields is pretty neat. A lot of times you just click it for the armor, and a lot of times you click it for the movement. Like, it's just a versatile card, right? That's the big thing. Yeah. Goes really well with sketches also. Bunch of imps. I should take a second to talk about Rail Beater.
We thought this was weird. I don't know about you, but I still think it's a weird man.
I understand Rail Beater a bit more now. The idea behind Rail Beater is... So here, let me tell you about how I've had Rail Beater successful. Let's talk, and to talk about that, we gotta talk about, of course, the man who I feel like he was made for, Branded Warrior. Branded Warrior has one big problem, which is the eternal question of how do you ever get those first kills on him so that he starts to snowball, right?
Yeah.
Railbeater does that by knocking the heavies back, and what I find is if you just give Railbeater like plus 25, he will knock back the first few heavies, Brandon will start to scale, and then Railbeater dies, and then he stops knocking enemies back, but Brandon can start killing heavies.
Okay.
And so what you do is you just put him on the floor below your main floor, and he's strong.
And then you try to ascend Brandon up to the main floor afterwards.
Or you just leave Brandon on the main floor, either way.
Oh, I thought you were setting this up on like the floor below your main floor.
Yeah, and you just have like a tank and Brandon, and then below them you have Railbeater knocking the stuff back.
Oh, got it. For some reason in my head I thought they were on the same floor together. Okay. That makes sense.
You can do that. That's cool. The other thing I found is that a lot of times Shardtail Queen, especially Imp Kill Shardtail Queen, doesn't care where enemies are. Like because she Imp tosses and clears the floor anyway, so she just hits the heavy that got knocked to the back anyway. Railbeater's a little better. He's better in a pinch than I may have given him credit for, but he is weird.
He's still a weirdo.
Yeah. Also, as I'm sure. I think this was in a co-op video recently where, just Railbeater with 2 multi-strike, it's like the worst sweep in the world. It's the world's worst sweep.
It does, though.
Yeah, I guess it does.
I feel like we might have been pretty high on Steelworker. I'm a little lower on Steelworker than I used to be.
Yeah, Steelworker is okay.
Like the gain 5 armor every turn isn't that big of a deal, especially, like you said before, the Hellhorn makes their own tanks, basically, so it doesn't matter too much who's the tank. That 5 armor tends to be inconsequential.
Yeah, over the course of a normal combat, assuming you put Steelworker on like middle floor, you're probably getting like 30 to 50 armor out of him, which is like he's like a scaling tank. That scale, it's like casting Ally of the Ancients on your tank for free, which isn't bad, but it doesn't matter too much, I don't think.
Yeah.
Alpha Fiend we should talk about because Alpha Fiend got buffed.
I like Alpha Fiend.
Yeah, Alpha Fiend is really good now.
Yeah, he slapped 2 multi-strikes on that bad boy, and he will kill a Relentless for you.
Yeah, I've had runs where you give him Large Stone multi-strike and then just beef him up with some armor too, and then he just kills Relentless himself. Multi-strike is what you need to know about Alpha Fiend, really. Also
a pretty good unit if you're playing his sketches. I probably said that last time, but even more so now.
Yeah, he's big. But he's good now. He does need a frontliner. He is not a tank, despite his 25 health line. He needs something in front of him. Probably pairs best with Rage Prince, I think.
Yeah.
Steelworker can work as well.
I mean, any of them, Railbeater can work too, although not as important.
Yeah, kind of weird. The only problem is if you have a 2-space, 3-space sort of setup, then you can't fit imps. That's Alpha Fiend's biggest downfall.
Yep.
You probably have to pick space. I don't. Do you know what we said about branding right?
I don't know, but branding right's been kind of weird. I remember you really liked it because you liked putting double stack on it, but after the double stack nerfs, it's not nearly as good.
No, branding right has gotten worse. They nerfed double stack.
It's still not bad though.
No, it's good. It's just like look at Welder Helper, look at branding right.
Yeah.
That's all.
That is the issue, huh?
Yeah, side by side. The only reason that branding right is ever better is because you have more chances to see branding right than Welder Helper.
But with imps, you know, you're not playing Welder Helper once probably.
Yeah.
You're playing it once and you're playing Transcendent 20 times. So
yeah, it's like branding right's okay if you give it -1 holdover though. That is 15 armor per round effectively because you have to pay 5 health for it. But
you can't play it that many times because it does pierce.
Yep, it'll. You just gotta watch. And don't kill yourself. It's not bad.
Also, warning, Onehorn's Tome. Be careful.
Oh yeah. Anything else you want to say here?
No, I'm
on
good.
This page. Okay. Inflame, I wanted to stop on for a moment because they nerfed double stack.
Yeah.
Inflame is not good now.
And I think it's like still kind of okay with specifically the superfood path for Primordium.
Right.
Like armor is a status apparently, so when someone eats Primordium, they get 5 armor each time, or however much armor they have on them, I suppose. But I tend with that strategy to like take rage when it's available. So, Inflame is just a little bit more rage and armor as well.
Yeah.
So it's not terrible in that one specific setup. Outside of that, it's really hard to take.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that when they nerfed double stack, they tried to bring most of the cards that were being affected by it up, like Ritual Battle, but Inflame just got left in the dust. That was
I would say Inflame was like probably one of the worst cards that was still good with double stack, and now that double stack is worse, it's now the worst.
Yeah, this card's just. I'm sorry, Inflame. Goodbye. I don't really have much to say about the next 3.
I can't believe you would do this to Battering Ram.
I guess we did kill Seraph with Battering Ram in a recent video.
Hell yeah.
All I have to say about Battering Ram is this card goes from a 3 energy joke to incredible if they added the word trample.
Yeah, that would be sick. Oh,
that's all I want. Cool. That's really all I want is that I just want them to put trample on Battering Ram.
Where did we fall on those are the next 3 cards afterwards. Or not the next 3 cards. That's after those 3 cards.
Yeah. Last Stand. I don't think Last Stand is very good.
Yeah, it's a fringe card, right? Like when it is good, it's like not even that important because you're probably winning anyway.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't know how often it's relevant to double your rage. It's not bad. Sometimes like if you have Rage Prince, like you can give it Last Stand and then Adapt and Mutation it. I've done that before. That was pretty cool. But outside of that, it's like, when are you gonna have so much rage that 3 energy to double it is good?
Right. It's like I think this is like your keystone piece if you're playing Branded Warrior. And that's fine, I guess. But I think the best use I had of this recently was last night, actually. I doubled Rage on a big sludge, and that was good. But I don't know. It's interesting because I feel like Hellhorned is missing... The one thing Hellhorned is missing is a good card that says Rage at the uncommon slot, because there isn't one. And Rage builds fall short because
How dare you? What is it called? Rage Serum or whatever.
Yeah, I said good card.
How dare you?
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's tough. Like a good like one costed, like maybe I don't know how much you want to give on one. Maybe like
honestly like
5 or 6 rage is the downside.
I think just 5 or 6, right?
5 or 6, but then that makes Ritual Battle look real bad.
Or I guess just make Dark Deal uncommon, and maybe lower its damage by 2. I don't know.
I think so. You go Dark Deal, uncommon, lower down to 3 damage. You want to go?
Yeah.
You got to tone it down to 6, and then maybe even add 1 energy onto it. Then.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds fine. I feel like the big problem I find, honestly, you know what the problem is? Is that there's not a good unit to take Rage. Rage doesn't feel good if you're putting it on a single strike unit, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like it shines best with like Awoken, because then you can get Animus of Will, or if you're lucky and you have Dante, that's pretty cool. But like, the fact that your units usually like there's a lot, like, or not, I guess not a lot, but there's a decent amount of other clans that have better units to actually put the Rage on, feels kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Or you're like, you gotta pick up multi-strike from a shop, right? It's
Yeah.
just, it's a, honestly, I think I said it in the last one, and this is a sentiment that I'll echo now. I think Rage is a pretty bad mechanic, but you can just get so much damage off of Deranged Brute, because I did just say not 10 minutes ago, Deranged Brute is so broken that he would break the idea of having uh, rare unit drafts because he's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that even bad Rage generation, when it's adding 5 per stack, is really good.
Yeah.
Reinforce?
Same idea as Last Stand, basically. Like when it's good, you probably didn't even need it in the first place. I've
Yeah.
only, I think, one time in my life actually had Reinforce be the difference between a win and a loss.
Was that the co-op run we did?
No, that one was, I think, already ridiculous. I don't think
Yeah.
we needed Reinforce for that one.
I had a situation recently. It was this was like the last run of the night, and I had a 30 attack Hellhorned Queen that I 5x'd Endless Welder Helper with Sacrifice imps on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just endlessly imp tossed up to like, I don't know, 1,000 armor, and then I had 2 remove consume reinforces, and I just took her up to 10,000 armor. And then you can kill Seraph with anything with 10,000 armor.
Yeah, but like, isn't 1,000 usually enough though?
Yeah, typically 1,000's enough. Reinforce
Yeah,
is
so like, it's just a win more card. You don't need it because it just makes you win even more than before. Like,
yeah,
it's not necessary usually.
I agree.
But it is fun when it works.
Yeah, it's fun, right? It's not necessarily good, but it's fun. Great target for permafrost. Ritual battle. I mean, Ritual battle has been buffed twice since we last talked about it.
Yeah, it is better now.
It is almost twice as good as it used to be, and
still not amazing.
No, it really isn't.
You need to be in a reason for you to want rage. You need either multi-strike prince, or you have an animus of will already, or deranged brute or something, because like it's tough out there for those angry boys.
Yeah, I kind of want to give Ritual Battle a chance now, because I had a run that was really strong where I had what was it? I had double stack on the Ritual Battle version that did 8 damage before they or 8 rage before they nerfed it, and I gave it -1, and then I times 5'd it, and it just went crazy with power because we had so much rage generation. And I would like to try that now, where you just give this Ritual Battle 2 -1s and duplicate it a bunch and see if it wins. Because if it does, cool. Like maybe that wins, right? But I don't know. If you're ever playing this card, this is one of maybe the most important cards to give upgrades to if you want to actually play it, because 3 energy for 10 rage on a single target is really bad.
But like, it's very easy to give it 2 -1s, and then it's like a much more playable card, obviously. But like,
yeah,
it's actually like, it's not, the thing is, it's not hard to get 2 -1s, right?
Right.
When we talk about something like Alpha Fiend, where it's like, oh, you put 2 multi strikes on this bad boy and he wins the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 multi strikes is not easy.
No.
2 cost downgrades, extremely easy.
Yeah, very guaranteed.
You go to a magic shop, cost down, reroll, cost down. There you go. You got it.
Yeah. The big problem I find with Ritual Battle is that it suffers from an effect, or not an effect, but a problem that a lot of cards suffer from, I feel like, in the common slot, which is that it is a common. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find this card, and if you pick it and then you have no reason for it, it's just a dead take, right? And a lot of times this is going to be a dead take if you don't pick up like a multi-strike or something like that, and then you just go, man, this Ritual Battle sucks. So, I don't know. I think that Ritual Battle would be a better card if you could spec into it later when you have like oh hey, Rage would be good here, and then you grab Ritual Battle after Combat 4.
At least we're actually talking about it instead of just making fun of it over and over again.
Yeah, Ritual Battle, everyone point and laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe this used to be 3 energy Rage 6, and some people tried to defend it to my face.
I mean, like 6, like, I think one of the ones I saw was like, oh, I gave it to the winged upgrader and it cost 0 and gave me 25 gold every time or whatever, and then I duplicated it. I'm like, Yeah, of course that's good.
Yeah, wow.
The card could have said nothing. Could have said get 35 gold every turn. That would be a good card.
Yeah.
But
Ritual battle. Demon Fiend?
I hate this.
You hate Demon Fiend.
A Demon Fiend now for me it's like sketches or bust. Like I cannot make this man, or if you have what's it called? Forever Flame.
Mm-hmm.
If I have Forever Flame first, then I'll take a Demon Fiend, but like oh man, 4 energy is a lot. 4 energy is a big ask.
So I would have been with you right up until last night. I had a run last night that completely changed my opinion of Demon Fiend.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing Reaper Prince, Mr. Slayman, and he has one big question, which is always, how are you getting that first kill, right? Same as Brandon. How do you get that first heavy knockdown? He's off by just a bit. And I couldn't figure it out. We finished Daedalus, and the unit they offered me was Demon Fiend. And I went, okay, Demon Fiend, let's see how it goes. And you slap down Demon Fiend, and he punches 50, which is never enough to kill a heavy after 4-3, right? Mm-hmm. So he doesn't steal any kills from Prince, but he has enough health to survive all of the combat rounds.
Yeah.
And so I just grabbed him. I gave him 2 large stones, I think, over the course of the combat.
And he gave him 2 large stones.
Yeah, I mean, the second one was just kind of like, haha, second large stone right before Seraph. Isn't that funny? We don't really need Demon Fiend anymore. But the first large stone was good because he had 90 health. And he just sat on the bottom floor. He punched heavies down and then...
Did you take size upgrade? Like to put him in front of, what's his name still?
No. Demon Fiend went and sat on the floor on his own and he just softened up the heavies.
You do that a lot, don't you? You have like a tank sitting by itself without a unit behind it, weak softening heavies for you.
Yeah, it seems strong.
I don't do that enough. I need to do that more.
In this specific situation, it was just the entire run was okay. We need the first kill for Prince so that he can start scaling, and Demon Fiend did that, and it went well. I took energy for from the Daedalus. So basically, in conclusion, from this long talk and anecdote, is I think Demon Fiend is good if you pick him off of Daedalus and then you just take energy immediately. Before Daedalus, he's just a dead card, and after Daedalus, you probably didn't take energy naturally. Mm-hmm. But right before Daedalus, you can pivot your plan into Demon Fiend, and he's okay. And also, all of those relics you said make him good as well.
Yeah.
But like multi-strike quick Demon Fiend can also win the game as well. He's a very strong damage dealer when he's quick 100 damage. So that's my take on Demon Fiend. I think that situationally he's really strong. 50-50 is a lot of stats.
Yeah, I didn't think about him in the context with softening heavies for Reaper Prince. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I still
don't like him. I still don't like him that much.
Usually it's better to do the softening plan through spells, but I couldn't. I didn't have any good spells. I think the secondary clan was Awoken, which doesn't have great spells for knocking enemies down a peg.
Or any, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Spikes one, right? But
they have Sting, I guess, as well.
Yeah, Sting would have been fine. Onehorn's Tome has been Onehorn's Tome has been through the ringer.
Yeah.
Oh, Onehorn's Tome. They had to introduce a new keyword for this card. It was so strong, apparently.
So it was... Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Onehorns went from like 5 down to 4 or something, and then up to 6, and then back to 5 with Fragile. Is that the actual... Maybe it didn't get lowered. I forget what happened. I feel like at one point the cost got lowered down to 4.
It did. I thought that it was 4. Was it 4 for a time after release? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was before the mutations update.
Yeah, and then I think they took it up to 5, and then in the beta for mutations they took it up to 6, and then basically everyone went, hey, this is unplayable, so they brought it back to 5 with Fragile and Multi-Strike 1, and now it is just,
Fragile's not a huge deal, but like it's something to keep in mind.
The Fragile change just makes Onehorn's Tome way worse outside of this clan. Mm-hmm. I think that Rector and Penumbra really liked Onehorn's Tome, Grandpa Penumbra, and now they don't. Now they hate it because it just kills them.
Yeah, it can only be used on like your backline DPS now, and also you have to watch out for sweep.
Mm-hmm. And you can't play branding right on your Onehorn's Tome units, as you said.
Yeah.
You can also do this on a unit who's just like stacking armor as well, like Rage Prince.
Yeah. If they have armor, damage does not kill them.
Yeah.
They have to actually lose health, not armor.
But it doesn't seem to kill them if you play like Razor Sharp Edge on them or anything that costs them max HP. Also. So yeah. This card is good.
I mean, it is literally worse than it was before when we last did the reviews, but like it's still, situationally a good card.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you can build around now. I think back then, I mean, yeah, we talked about this before, right? It was a card where we said it was bad, and then soon after we went, oh, wait, hey, it's actually insane.
I don't think it was ever insane. I was like, if you have the right deck, this is pretty cool. Go to some magic shops, lower the cost, hooray.
Yeah, and that's what you do now. If you pick Onehorn's Tome from Daedalus, you just take energy, go to magic shops, lower the cost, put it on your carry, win the game. Fine. Anything else?
No.
All right. And last but not least, in Hellhorned, Consumer.
My thoughts haven't really changed much on this, but you, I think, said before that you wanted to talk about it for a bit. So
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Consumer of Crowns, and when we get to it in Umbra, I'm going to probably make this case for Shadow Siege as well. However, Shadow Siege is a harder sell. I've had a few episodes on the YouTube go up lately where I've just played Consumer of Crowns. Like I pick it in a run and then am able to play it with no relics, no cheating, anything like that. It just is played. And essentially what you do is you accept that this unit is not something that's going to fight for you outside of Relentless at any point. And the idea is just that you have a floor that you put a tank on and you just protect like 3 imps. And the second time you draw Consumer, you just play Consumer. And then Consumer, probably with multi-strike, and then put him like behind a tank or something like that, he just kills bosses. And that's
pretty cool.
And what ends up happening is if you end up with this plan as your main strategy, you duplicate Consumer once or twice and you put in a few extra imps, and then you can usually get out a Consumer first time around because he's pretty, like, if you build around him, right? You find the correct artifacts or don't. You can do it with Pyre Chomper as well. One Pyre Chomper lets you play a Consumer typically.
Yeah.
Or hitting an imp in a box will let you play him. There's a lot of things you can hit that let you play him.
Yeah. And so my question for you, Voyix, with no cheating in mind, like no sketches, etc., nothing like that, no volatile gauge, how many imps need to be in your deck to start with for you to go, I will take Consumer of Crowns? Because I think with 0 imps, I think that is a suicide mission to try to play Consumer legit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's probably like 2 Wilder Helpers and a Transcend Imp sort of situation, right? Probably around 3.
Those 3 specific imps, or like just 3?
Just 3 in general, right? Preferably start with Pyre Chomper as well. Makes Consumer a lot better. Also, if you start with any energy relic, he's better. Forever Flame, Hell's Banners, for example. But yeah, I've been doing this more. If you start with Impsicle, also, he's just a pretty easy take. Things like that. And I think that because obviously a certain someone starts with 5 imps in their starting deck now, which has made Consumer a little better as well. However, I'm not sold on just picking him always with Exile Queen. I think that the big imp that you need to have in your deck for Consumer to be super viable is Pyre Chomper.
Okay.
Or Imp in a Box. But yeah, I think that him and Shadow Siege might be units where you take them with a plan of just building the whole combat around being able to play them to kill your boss.
I think when I get imps, I just Tunnel Vision like the Welder Helper Endless plan. And whenever I do that, I just coincidentally never find Consumer. So I haven't gotten it to... I don't think I've ever gotten Consumer of Crowns to win legitly. But I do believe it is, possible, definitely.
Yeah, I did it like twice in a week, and then I went, hey, wait, maybe this is just something you can do a lot? I'm not sure. I think that's it for Hellhorned, right?
Yep.
So we've done this for 40 minutes. I am going to imagine that we should probably just split this into 5 separate videos.
Oh, sounds great.
All right. So I guess we'll reconvene with Awoken at some point. We can work out when we want to do that after we finish recording here. Closing thoughts on Hellhorn real quick. Anything you want to say?
I mean, overall, pretty good. Yeah. I don't hate seeing them.
Yeah. I think Exile Hellhorn's secondary might be the worst secondary now.
I mean,
to start with, anyway.
I don't know.
Maybe Exile Melting
Frozen
secondary.
Lance.
Yeah, Frozen Lance is a good card now.
Get out of here.
I would rather have Frozen.
I mean, Queen simply just a better frozen land, so 10 damage versus 6.
But it costs space.
Yeah, but then they take a hit for you for free.
Yeah, but like you gotta have the space limitations. What if you're trying to play a full floor? You can't play the imp.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then you're just sitting there going, man, I wish I had frozen lance. I'm off by 6 damage.
Never once said that in my life.
I think I've said that before.
No, there's obviously situations where frozen lance is better.
I don't know how anyone could talk shit about the best card in this game, frozen lance. It's not possible.
Okay, and the dang video, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, my closing thoughts: armor good, rage bad. That's the 2 mechanics in this clan. Imp's good. All right, yeah, we're gonna. I don't know. We'll work through these. These videos are hopefully gonna be more concise than the last set because we're gonna glaze over cards that are boring to talk about and uninteresting, like Spike of the Hellhorned. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. As Flying Lotus Cranberry said. I don't know when this video is going up, Cranberry, so I can't ask you if you're going to be streaming right now because I don't know when this is going to be live.
Probably not. Safe bet, probably not.
Yeah, you should still go follow Cranberry. There'll be a link in the description to go click and follow him on Twitch. Well, would you like to say goodbye to the people, Cranberry?
Sure. Goodbye.
Goodbye.